A new world, new friendships, and the spark that starts it all. The moment the plane's doors opened at LAX, Luca Romano felt his heart jump. Warm California air swept over him, nothing like the crisp winds of Rome. He pulled his suitcase through the terminal, surrounded by a blur of travelers, neon ads, and the unfamiliar hum of American life. UCLA was his dream, a place where he could finally become the architect he'd always hoped to be. Outside the airport, palm trees swayed lazily above the traffic. Luca inhaled deeply, smiling. Los Angeles a co-sigh, he whispered. Los Angeles. Here we are. Campus was buzzing with energy when Luca arrived. Students zoomed by on bikes. Laughter echoed across the courtyard, and music flowed from open dorm windows. Luca found his dorm room, 305B, and knocked. The door swung open. A tall, effortlessly stylish guy stood there with messy blonde hair and a smirk that came naturally. You must be Luca, he said with a smooth French accent. Pierre Leblanc, your roommate. Welcome to UCLA. Pierre's personality was magnetic, confident, talkative, funny without trying. Within minutes, they were discussing European football, LA weather, and how confusing American slang could be. Luca felt lucky. A friend this early? He had expected loneliness, not this. That evening, Pierre dragged him to an international student mixer on a rooftop terrace. Yellow string lights framed the skyline, turning the city into a glittering sea of gold. People from Spain, Sweden, Holland, Denmark, Norway, and Greece filled the place, their accents blending into a lively European melody. Luca enjoyed the atmosphere, but one moment froze him in place. A girl stepped out of the crowd, blonde hair tied in a low ponytail, soft blue eyes behind thin glasses, a calm confidence in her walk. Elena Hoffmann, from Germany. She introduced herself with a gentle, melodic voice that made Luca's heart stumble. You're Luca, right? Pierre mentioned you were from Italy. Pierre winked at Luca from behind her, as if to give him a little push. Luca and Elena started talking, and talking, and talking, about childhood, about dreams, about why they left Europe for LA, about sunsets in Rome and snow in Munich. They ended up leaning on the railing side by side, watching the city stretch endlessly into the night. Los Angeles feels huge, Elena said softly. I thought I'd feel lost, but right now I don't. Luca looked at her, his heart warm. Me neither. As they laughed together, Pierre watched from across the terrace. His smile remained on his lips, but his eyes tightened, sharpened, darkened. A tiny spark of envy flickered in his chest, quiet, unnoticed, but real. Luca didn't see it. Elena didn't see it. But it was there, growing, waiting. Romance blooms, and envy begins to take root. The first weeks at UCLA passed like a dream. Luca settled into classes, discovered the hidden corners of campus, and adjusted to the rhythm of American life. But the brightest part of every day was always the same. Elena. They studied together in the library, whispered jokes between architecture books and psychology notes. They shared lunches in the sunny courtyard, laughing at the surprisingly gigantic portions of American food. Sometimes, they simply walked around campus, talking about life like they'd known each other for years. One afternoon, Elena asked shyly, Do you want to see Santa Monica with me this weekend? Luca's heart nearly burst. That Saturday, they took a bus to the beach. The sun dipped low over the ocean, lighting the waves gold. Luca and Elena walked barefoot along the shore, the water touching their feet in gentle, cool waves. She spoke softly, her German accent making her words delicate. I didn't expect to feel comfortable with anyone this fast. Luca swallowed, nervous but happy. Neither did I. When the breeze blew her hair against his face, she didn't pull away. By the time the sky turned pink, their fingers were intertwined, slowly, naturally, as if guided by something bigger than them. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't rushed. It was simply right. They were now a couple. Pierre pretended to be excited when Luca told him, Ah, mon frère, that's amazing. I'm happy for you. But the smile never reached his eyes. He watched Luca talk about Elena with a quiet bitterness building behind his charming facade. He stayed awake at night, staring at his phone, scrolling through pictures of Elena. Something twisted and unpleasant began growing inside him, a feeling he hadn't expected. He wanted her to, and worse, he believed she should have chosen him. It began subtly. One evening, during dinner at the dorm cafeteria, Pierre leaned back casually and said, "Are you sure Elena is over her ex?" Luca frowned. "She hasn't mentioned him." Pierre shrugged. "German guys can be persistent. Maybe she hides things to avoid drama." Luca brushed it off. But later, when Elena mentioned she had messaged a classmate for notes, Luca found himself wondering, was that really all? Pierre's seeds of doubt were tiny, barely noticeable, but they planted themselves. Next came something sharper. A late-night study session in the dorm ended with Pierre casually saying, "You're a good guy, Luca, but sometimes girls want the more exciting guy." Luca laughed awkwardly. He didn't take it seriously. But Pierre watched him carefully, measuring each reaction, studying every moment like a silent predator. Pierre began messaging Elena privately. At first, innocent seeming. "How are your classes? Did Luca get home safely?" Then came the more poisonous remarks. "He could be forgetful sometimes. I hope you know he talks to girls a lot on campus. I'm only telling you because I care." Elena didn't believe any of it first. But when Pierre repeated small stories, twisted, exaggerated versions of Luca's harmless actions, the edges of her trust began to fray. And Pierre saw it. He felt it. And he smiled. One evening, Luca noticed Elena seemed quieter, distracted. They sat on a bench near Royce Hall as sunset painted the sky orange. "Is something wrong?" he asked gently. Elena hesitated. Her voice was soft. "Do you still talk to anyone from Italy? I mean girls." Luca blinked, confused. "Only some friends, but nothing unusual." "What?" She shook her head. "Nothing. It's just never mind." She forced a smile. But something had shifted. Luca felt it in the silence between them. Elena felt it in the questions she was afraid to ask. Pierre felt it in the satisfaction burning inside him. The crack was small, barely visible, but it had begun. When envy becomes action, and trust begins to collapse. The shift happened slowly at first. A shorter reply here. A missing smile there. A sudden distance Luca couldn't understand. Elena still held his hand when they walked to class. She still kissed him goodnight at his dorm door. But something invisible hung between them. Something Luca couldn't name. And Pierre felt it. And he fed it. The manipulation begins. Pierre knew he couldn't wait much longer. He needed something bigger, something undeniable. So he created it. Late at night, after Luca had gone to sleep, Pierre sat at his desk, the blue glow of his laptop lighting his face. His fingers moved fast, practiced, almost graceful as he opened a design app. He copied Luca's old text messages. Pierre leaned back, admiring his digital poison. "She will believe it," he whispered. And he was right. The stage scene. The next part required live performance. Pierre invited a girl from their architecture class, a bold, flirty American named Madison, to the weekend party near Westwood Village. Madison had a reputation for being easily persuaded, especially when someone offered her Dodger game tickets. Pierre smiled. He had tickets. "Just hug him," he told her. "Make it look convincing. Elena will be watching." Madison grinned. Piece of cake. Saturday night arrived. The house party was loud, crowded, filled with music and colored lights. Luca came alone, not knowing Elena was already there with Sophia. Pierre watched everything unfold from the balcony. When Luca stepped into the courtyard, Madison spotted him and sauntered up, laughing loudly, throwing her arms around him, pulling him into a warm, intimate hug. Luca laughed nervously, confused. "And Madison? What's happening?" Elena saw it. Her heart dropped. Pierre immediately appeared at her side, pretending to be shocked. "I'm sorry you had to see that. I warned you he might be unfaithful." Elena couldn't breathe, couldn't speak. Sophia frowned, unsure, but Pierre steered Elena away before she could ask questions. The confrontation. Elena found Luca outside after the party, his hands deep in his pockets, unaware anything was wrong. Her voice trembled. "How could you do this to me?" Luca froze. "What?" "Elena, what are you talking about?" She shoved her phone toward him. The fake screenshots. The hug she witnessed. All the lies Pierre had fed her now looked painfully real. "I saw you," she whispered. "And I saw these messages. You lied to me." Luca's chest tightened in panic. "Elena, these aren't real. I swear to you." But she stepped back. "I don't know what to believe anymore." Her eyes were full of tears. And trust, pure, warm trust, shattered in an instant. She turned away before Luca could explain, before he could breathe, before he could even think. Pierre watched from the shadows, satisfaction burning in his eyes. The aftermath. Days passed like cold rain. Elena stopped texting, stopped calling, stopped coming to their usual spots. Luca felt something inside him collapse. A quiet ache, a sharp sadness he carried everywhere. Pierre pretended to comfort him. "She wasn't the right girl anyway, mon ami. You'll find someone better." But 2 weeks later, Luca saw something that brought both clarity and devastation. He was walking across the campus quad when he froze mid-step. There, near the fountain, Elena stood beside Pierre, and they were holding hands. Pierre's thumb stroked the back of Elena's hand gently, almost possessively. Elena looked down, ashamed. Pierre looked triumphant. Luca felt his chest clench, his world tilt. The betrayal wasn't subtle anymore. It was staring him in the face. Lies can only survive in silence, and silence never lasts forever. The betrayal didn't just hurt. It hollowed Luca from the inside out. He walked across UCLA's campus like a ghost, breathing but barely living, attending classes but remembering nothing. The sun still shone, the palm trees still swayed, students still laughed in the courtyards. But Luca felt distant from all of it, like he was watching life through a fogged window. And still, Pierre and Elena walked together, hand in hand. His best friend, his love, gone in the same moment. Sophia becomes suspicious. Sophia Novak wasn't fooled. She had watched Elena fall apart after the breakup, curled on their apartment sofa, holding her phone like it was a wound. She'd watched Pierre appear at just the right times, comforting, reassuring, inserting himself into Elena's life with unnatural ease. Sophia didn't trust him, not even for a second. One afternoon, she walked into the living room and saw Elena staring at her phone again. The fake screenshots. Sophia sat beside her. "Elena, can you show me those messages again?" Elena hesitated, then handed her the phone. Sophia examined the bubbles, the alignment, the formatting. Her mind sharpened. "Where did you get these?" "Pierre showed me," Elena whispered. Sophia felt a chill. "Elena, these messages look off." "What do you mean?" "The timestamp spacing, the font thickness, even the delivery style. These look edited." Elena frowned, suddenly uneasy. No, Pierre said. Sophia stood. "Exactly," Pierre said. "But did you ask Luca? Did you even talk to him properly?" Elena's breath shook. "I thought I saw him hugging a girl." Sophia nodded. "I heard about that party. Madison hugged him. He didn't hug her. She's all over everyone when she's drunk." Elena's hands trembled. The cracks had begun, and Sophia wasn't finished. Sophia investigates. While Elena was in class, Sophia opened their laptop and searched for the screenshots Pierre had once emailed for backup. She zoomed in, and there it was. A tiny pixel misalignment. A mismatched bubble color. A compression artifact. "Proof. You bastard," she whispered. She needed confirmation. So she went to the architecture studio and found Madison. "Madison, quick question. Did you hug Luca that night because Pierre told you to?" Madison, sipping iced coffee, looked confused but not surprised. "Yeah?" He said Luca was sad and needed cheering up. "Why?" Sophia exhaled sharply. "Because it was all a setup." Madison blinked. "Oh, damn." Sophia didn't waste another second. The confrontation. Sophia versus Pierre. She found Pierre outside a cafe off campus, sipping espresso like he owned the place. Sophia slammed her phone on his table. "You manipulated everything." Pierre didn't even flinch. "I don't know what you're talking about." "The fake screenshots. The stage hug. The lies you fed Elena. I have proof." His jaw twitched, barely noticeable. "Even if you did, Elena came to me. I didn't force her." Sophia leaned in. "You destroyed your best friend's heart." Pierre's eyes hardened. lips curling into a smug half-smile. Luca never knew how to appreciate what he had. I do. Sophia stared at him, truly seeing him for the first time. A man made of charm on the outside, and envy on the inside. I'm telling her everything, she said. Pierre didn't stop her. He didn't need to, because deep down, he believed Elena loved him now. But he was wrong. The truth crashes down on Elena. That night, Sophia dumped everything on the living room table. Printed screenshots, metadata analysis, Madison's statement, timestamps, inconsistencies. Elena stared at the evidence, her face draining of color. Every page she flipped through felt like a brick being stacked on her chest. Pierre lied to me. Her voice cracked. Her hand shook. Sophia, what have I done? Sophia placed a hand on her shoulder. You loved Luca, and you let someone poison that love. Elena covered her face and sobbed. Loud, aching sobs that filled the room with regret. He tried to explain, and I didn't even listen. The truth burned. She had accused Luca of cheating, and then walked straight into the arms of the man who betrayed him. Elena stood suddenly. I have to talk to him. But Sophia grabbed her wrist. Elena, you need to be prepared. For what? Sophia's eyes softened with sadness. He might not take you back. Elena swallowed hard. For the first time, she felt the weight of her mistake. The betrayal had wounded Luca deeply. And now, she was the one afraid to face him. Some wounds heal. Others become part of who we are. Elena didn't sleep. She spent the entire night pacing the apartment, replaying every moment. Their first coffee at the Bruin Cafe, their walks across campus, their late-night study sessions, their laughter in the architecture courtyard. Every memory stabbed her with guilt. She rehearsed what she would say, then forgot it, then panicked and rehearsed again. By sunrise, her nerves were shredded. I have to fix this, she whispered to herself. But the truth? She didn't know if anything could be fixed. Luca has changed. Luca wasn't the same person anymore. Heartbreak had altered him, not in a dramatic, angry way, but in a quiet, inward one. His smile had faded. His voice had grown softer. He stopped sketching the romantic rooftop scenes he used to love. He worked longer hours at the architectural studio, slept less, talked less. He didn't hate Elena. He didn't even hate Pierre. He just felt something break inside him. A trust he didn't know how to rebuild. Elena faces him. Late afternoon, Elena finally found him. Luca was sitting alone on Jan's steps, his sketchbook on his lap, watching the distant silhouettes of students walking across the campus. He looked tired, older somehow. When Elena approached, his entire body tensed. Luca, he didn't answer. He didn't even look at her at first. After a long moment, he closed his sketchbook softly. Why are you here, Elena? His tone wasn't sharp. It was worse, it was empty. She swallowed. I know the truth now about everything Pierre did. The screenshots were fake. The party scene was staged. I was wrong. So wrong. He finally looked at her, and the pain in his eyes made her knees weaken. I trusted you, he said quietly. No anger. No accusation. Just heartbreak. Her eyes filled with tears. I should have believed you. I should have talked to you. I made the biggest mistake of my life. He shook his head slowly. I tried to explain. That night, I begged you to listen. Elena covered her face. I know, and I'm so sorry. Silence fell between them. Warm, heavy, devastating. Luca's truth. After a long moment, Luca exhaled. I loved you, Elena. She flinched. He continued. You were the first person here who made Los Angeles feel like home. I trusted you more than anyone. His voice wavered, only once. And when you left, when you believed him over me, something inside me broke. Elena stepped closer, desperate. Luca, I want to fix this. I want us back. I want to rebuild what we had. Luca looked down at his hands. I don't know if I can. Her breath caught. Please don't say that. Luca forced a sad, tired smile. Betrayal changes people. I'm not the same person you walked away from. The final break. Elena's tears fell freely. Luca, I love you. His eyes softened. For a moment, she saw the old Luca hiding behind the hurt. But then he shook his head gently. I know you mean it, but love isn't enough if trust is broken. She stepped forward. He stepped back. And that tiny movement destroyed her. "I'm not angry anymore," Luca whispered. "But I can't go back to who we were." Her heart crumbled. She nodded slowly, painfully. "If this is goodbye, I accept it." He swallowed hard. "Goodbye, Elena." She walked away with shaking legs, tears blurring the entire campus. And Luca watched her go, not because he wanted her gone, but because he knew he had to let her. Aftermath. Pierre was exposed. He lost everyone. Friends, reputation, comfort. Elena moved out of their shared social circles. Sophia stayed by her side, helping her heal. And Luca rebuilt himself. Slowly, quietly, firmly. He returned to sketching, returned to dreaming, returned to smiling. But differently now. Pain taught him something. Not every love story is meant to be a forever. Some are just lessons carved into the heart.